inviting you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes because we'll talk about gratitude and pleasure, plus taboo topics. And now here's the man of the hour with a shower, Mr. Greg Struss.
Yes.
Oh!
Thank you. Welcome to the Greg Show. I'm Greg Struss, your brown-eyed guapo, coming to you almost live here from the studios of Comcast in the west side of Chicago. And for the next 30 minutes, I hope that you'll allow me to come into your home for this elongated video visit. Elongated. Thank you. All right. So here we are talking before the show, and I don't have any idea what you were like going on and on with Bobby Mudra about something. What is it that you guys were talking about?
We were talking about inner peace, space, spiritual law.
And the fourth, you said you've got 45 minutes into what
I did
chapter?
4 chapters of Florence Gobelshen's The Game of Life.
George Gobel from the 50s?
No, not George Gobel. Florence Gobelshen.
Florence Gobel.
She was the bestseller in 1928, The Game of Life.
Okay. Manischewitz, as Grandpa Clarence Struss used to say. Did you ever meet Grandpa Clarence? Grandpa Struss?
I think he was dead before I was, what?
Yeah, we knew each other for a while.
Really?
Before that time, yes. But Grandpa Clarence used to play he played one season for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I believe in 37, before he blew out his shoulder. So he came up through the ranks, Roseland Pullman Hall. You know, I keep telling the same story. But anyway, he's a baseball fixture. If you look up Steamboat Struss, you'll see his stats and everything from his one season that he played. And
Does he look like you?
no, he is not as ruggedly handsome, but yes, he was a good man.
Ruggedly handsome. Holy.
No, that's what.
That's we're not here to BS anybody.
Exactly. You know, before the show, Lee's the man out here, so he makes sure that everything is running efficiently with the.
He wears a baseball cap.
Yeah, he wears a baseball cap. He does like a lot of stuff for he directs the Community Connection show. So
He's the Mother Teresa of cable access.
absolutely.
There you go.
And so Bob and him are talking. The other Bob, our director Rutherford, and they keep calling out these shots. Okay, 2, 3, 2, and there's Mike, our sound guy,
Yep.
and he's shooting this video in the thing, and then he plays it back, and I'm like completely all out. I'm like, do you think we could get a better shot on this? So was I being a diva in the control room or not?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Anyway, as Grandpa Clarence used to say, he used to say Manischewitz, and I got to look up because it may not be a politically correct term. But in Chicago, there was a report of 2 beehives being stolen. Now, I've heard of creating media buzz, but this kind of takes the cake. Or the honey, if you're into that kind of thing. Hillary Clinton, who is running for the office of President of the United States, has finally broken silence with talking to the media. She's been kind of keeping a low profile, which she learned from her husband Bill, who was also down low. Mayor Rahm Emanuel was recently sworn in
Gangster mayor.
for his second term in Chicago. And in honor of his, what do they call that? His inauguration, he closed 10 Chicago schools. Thank you. Thanks, Scott, for that.
Where'd they go?
In honor, because Mayor Emanuel's closed like all these public schools.
Yes.
He's pushing like these charter schools. So what it is it's kind of like a little smoke and mirrors, as we say, because by going to charter schools, you break the teachers union and have charter schools instead of public schools, which are supposedly better for the taxpayer, but go somewhere else. All right. David Letterman has left the building. He has retired from CBS after 33 long years and of producing stellar, groundbreaking late-night television. And as a gift to Stephen Colbert, Dave has given him custody of Biff Henderson. So we will... Anyway, good show tonight. Thank
Good
you for joining us.
show.
It's always a good show.
Good show.
We got
Brandon not here.
now. We have taboo topics, very interesting taboo topics. We're also going to be talking about, I don't have the list, but anyway, taboo topics. I could not believe, though, with this beehive thing, that someone would report that 2 beehives were stolen. I don't know what
Bees are big business.
They're big business, but it's like creating media buzz. I thought it was just a bad joke. Anyway, I'm Greg. This is The Greg Show. And we are recreating community television from the west side of Chicago. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back in just a moment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
I like that Liberace bit. When Liberace was on Johnny Carson, he said that the cleaning woman kept coming in and wanting to light his cigarette and stuff, and said, "Honey, I'm on the John." And he was probably tickling the ivory, and it wasn't the elephant in the other room. And so I don't know. And you still didn't push up the stool. But other than that, it's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
Hello and welcome back to the Greg Show. Coming to you. Do you like that "coming to" line, or is it just getting old? I feel like it's getting old. Coming to you from the west side of Chicago. I'm Greg Struss, and this is Scotty Joe Vega.
Hello, babies.
How you doing?
How you doing?
We are on YouTube, and of course, we like to say hello to all of our viewers that are watching us on Comcast, as well as YouTube.com, where we have a number of programs that still have to be uploaded. I'm sorry, I've moved. I do not have the internet service at this point because I gifted it to somebody else until the end of the month.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you for
Okay.
being honest.
Yes.
Now get to work.
All right. I want to say hello to all of our friends. Now, we always go there after the show to the Rainbow Restaurant in Elmhurst. It's a little place that's on York Road. It's kind of like a pancake house.
They have good food, and if you're ever visiting Elmhurst, go there, and you will feel Chicago. You will feel Elmhurst.
Yeah.
You will be
Nikos
rocked
and-
like a baby.
Nikos and everybody there, because there's really not much out here after we do the show. Remember,
There's the root beer stand.
Oh,
But
that's
we-
right.
We never
done
make
that.
it there, and then there's the other places, and yes,
Yeah.
we're getting older. We can't go to those hip places with the swinging boobs and all that stuff.
Well, do you remember when we did the show in the South Side? There was a bar called Patty's Pub, and then every Thursday night we would do the show, and then we had started when we were 19 years old, so we
Yep.
really couldn't drink legally, and
Correct.
then all of a sudden everybody's saying, "Well, why don't we go down the street?" And I'm like, "I don't have an ID," but they don't check it, and I'm like, "But that's not right." Do you see my whole
But we
honesty thing?
we looked old then. I mean, we were like cavemen.
So we would go down there and get completely trashed.
I'd wear a fur coat in that place. No wonder
Yeah.
I never got a woman out of that place.
And so it was the precursor to karaoke. And
Yes.
they did this big show. It was Greg Underwood, and
Yes.
used to call it Patty's Pub and Supper Club.
The Star
Lounge.
Maker Show.
The Star Maker Show.
Yes.
So this guy, Duke,
Yep,
would
the
walk
Duke.
out. He was this big dude, had a big gut. kinda
Wasn't he a
like-
cop?
I don't think he was a police officer, but he would walk out. He got there 7 o'clock because he wanted front row seats.
Yep.
And by 9 o'clock, when this show started up, he was the first guy that would say, so everyone would go, Duke, Duke, Duke.
He'd have his own business card and he'd hand him out, the Duke.
And he'd hand him out.
It just says the Duke.
I don't know if it was construction or what. Everybody would do it. But as the night went on and he went up more,
Yep.
he completely butchered the songs and made up his own.
I remember T-Bone and the Wheel. There was Wheeler and T-Bone, and then there was, I think Brian, one of the guys that wanted to be I think he got up there one night and did Smoke on the Water. And
It was a good life, I think. And you
You
know,
know-
what? I missed that. And continue. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
no, it's alcohol's weird.
It really is.
It is. It's you think you need it, but
And you get to the point of where it's not fun anymore, and you got other problems.
If you want to be honest, it's just not enough anymore.
It's not enough anymore, and you got to do something else.
3 bourbons in my coffee cup, 3 fingers deep. The guy says, John Conley, I had 3 fingers in my coffee cup. You got to drink that much bourbon to get through the day. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Now, this was what was also kind of interesting in David Letterman leaving. It's the first time he's had more press probably in the last month or so versus 5 years. And he talked about that he was an alcoholic up until he was 34 years old.
Had no idea.
Landed the late night show on NBC and said, you know what, they don't just hand these shows to anybody, and I don't want to blow it. So he stopped drinking.
Yes.
As we talk about this a little bit, it's the end of an era, and he produced over 6,000 shows in 33 years. Now, who do you think are some of the other people that have records like that, number of appearances on their programs? Take a wild guess.
Nightline.
That probably would be one I didn't check. Phil Donahue, okay, because we're talking talk shows.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would think Ted
Oprah.
Koppel was up there.
Oprah.
I don't think Oprah did 4,000 shows, 4,500 shows, something like that. Phil Donahue produced over 6,000. Bob Barker hosted over 7,000 Prices Rights in 35 years.
My little girl was 6. She stayed home and watched The Price is Right today. Go ahead.
And Regis Philbin holds the record for the most hours spent on television. I'm not really sure. He broke that record, I think, in 2010.
Can I give you a story about Regis Philbin?
I love Regis.
When I was with my mother and grandmother when she was alive, we were in the old Horseshoe, like in Hammond, Indiana. And here's Regis Philbin talking to my grandmother in a chair. And he would go up and he would rub her face, and he was kind of, let's say he had a lot to drink. So he's like going to my grandma and saying, how pretty. And I look over there and there's Geldman, just like on the TV show, where he's like, what do you think about that, Geldman? Swear to God.
Scotty Joe Vegas, I don't know what to tell you. Every time I'm telling you.
He's like, you need to go to do something else. But he was very nice to my grandmother, and he's that way in person as he is on the show. He's just a good guy. Mm-hmm. Now my grandmother's dead, and she might think about him up in the heaven about doing a little hump or something.
Did you get the inheritance yet or not?
No. I thought all the grandkids were supposed to get some money, but I guess they spent it on weed or something. I don't know.
Anyway, with the story of...
Weed's cheap these days,
With the story of David Letterman leaving, okay. He's leaving, and I know you're bored with this, but
I'm not bored.
But you're not interested.
I am interested because...
There's a lot of parallels in the story, I think, because it's the end of something, and I really think about times in my life that I had to make certain changes. I just moved, and getting back with not living with people, it's a big adjustment. And then I think about the times that we did various shows in the past, and when those ended, and the relationships with people that I was very close with at that point in time, that they were like family. And then the show ended, and I moved, and that's a change. I mean, because it's like not only are you not doing something that you enjoy, but that you're no longer. I was no longer in touch with the folks. Like, here we are.
But you went somewhere. I went somewhere. What about all those people that stayed behind? The Mick Olivers of the world, who were crushed. They didn't have anything to do. Did you know that you crushed Mick Oliver
and Uncle Bob
and Uncle Bob? But I mean, you know what I'm saying, like. He was a DJ, right, on WD&D somewhere, and his name was Mick Oliver, and he was all that Southside Irish coat wearing, and he didn't have too many nostril hairs, but I guess, he was a little older than us, but he was a nice fellow. I liked him.
Yeah, and so those relationships kind of ended, and then I moved. I went to school. It was very difficult because for about 2 years I didn't know anybody. I moved to a place where I knew very few people and started over from scratch, and then started another show, and then I realized, like, wow, when that came to an end, that really devastated me because there really wasn't a lot of closure with that. Whereas someone like David Letterman right now, he's had a lot of closure. He's had about a year to really figure it out, and now it's ending. And
well, at least you had a show to go to. I didn't have nothing. I married my friend that I wasn't supposed to marry, but her daddy had the old Arkansas police cap on. It says, "You gonna take your daughter up north? You gonna marry her, boy? You understand me?" So we got married, and we just wanted to go to the Justice Peace. Next thing you know, we got Flamin' Jubilee over at Nico's on 79th Street, and the next thing there's 300 people. and she says, there's two women in your life, Mr. DeYoung. There's women that you screw and women that you respect. Well, I says, which one were you? Well, I respected her. She was my friend. Sorry, everybody. But I'm just saying, my point was, then I went into it, I'm going to say it, SHIT sandwich when I left the show because I started like eating 5 combo meals at a time and, hey, there was no problems there. And, but I was always faithful. I never screwed around. Does porn count? Go ahead.
It might to some people. But this is interesting because
When they're standing in the room?
Because it's like any kind of a change. You know, you're married to somebody, then all of a sudden they're not there anymore.
I mean, lots of pain. I mean, I'm talking like dark days. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
And how did you get through it, do you think?
I did.
It was time.
I'm probably coming out of it after, what, let's see, 16 years? Hey, look at me. I got a show to do. Got a show to do. Where are you going? Going to Chicago again. All right.
Time takes time. And it really does. And
it takes time.
Mm-hmm. But isn't it interesting how some people will sit there and say, well, you know, get over it. And that's kind of ignorant. It's ignorant for somebody to make a comment like that.
That's like going to the bathroom and someone saying, hey, cut it off. And it's like, no, I got more stuff coming out.
I don't know if I would, okay.
You understand? People at home understand. You people? Yes.
But it's...
I'm talking like dark days. I'm talking, my head was so just dark and... God, I don't ever want to go there again. I mean, I still battle every day, you know, trying to be a better person and stuff like that, which I'm far from it. But, man, that was some dark times. I mean, I just like, it was hard to breathe. It was...
Did you feel that your life was over? Like you lost your purpose?
When you're in your 30s and you're the fat guy on the softball team and you can't run anymore and like, yeah, just, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What was it? Did I answer the question?
I think so.
I wasn't over. It was just that I was on, it stopped.
That's how I felt. The show ended in Michigan. We were on a CBS affiliate, and that was a big deal for me. I was 29 years old on 11:35 at night, and really not listening to the noise and the signs that were ominous. That maybe...
Is that when I came and seen you?
No, that was
with the second wife.
That was
Go ahead,
before.
I'm sorry.
So I remember going to our 10th year reunion, the 11 years later, and I'm talking with somebody, and they're like, you know, Greg doesn't want people to know that he's on CBS and he's being successful. I didn't feel that I was being successful because, quite frankly, I was like driving myself nuts. I think I had a little bit of an eating disorder. I had, I had a lot of anxiety, you know, trying to figure out how I would make this work. And then in the end, those 22 weeks later, I left no closure really because I was out of money and out of energy and just felt completely defeated and went from talking to 60 people a week to nobody. And I was in bed probably a lot of the time during the day. I was barely working. I was waiting tables.
I went from being with a bunch of people to nobody.
Nobody.
Out in the middle of nowhere and going... Just like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I was there. Go ahead.
So you talk about how it was 16 years. I mean, I realized that it was a cataclysmic event right around the time I was 41 years old. Ran into some issues related to my drinking that I felt, wow, this show really, I really had way too high of expectations and put way too much of myself in something that had way too much risk involved. And I really don't know what the moral of the story is other than the fact that sometimes it takes time. And it takes a long time to really recover from a loss like that. And we got to go to break here. What were you going to say?
The ex-girlfriend, the one that was the felon, her motorcycle gang is in the news now, the Banditos. So, hey, all you Banditos out there, don't shoot us.
In Waco?
Yeah.
Oh, it's them?
Yes.
We'll find out more about
yes,
that.
thank you.
Anyway.
She got a Bandito tattoo on her arm.
We'll continue with this discussion and some really raving taboo topics when the Greg Show continues right after this. And welcome back. We are here every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. For those of you who are watching us linearly, right? Linearly live on television versus non-linear on computer.
One of our ex-classmates, Burley Lester, is having a picnic in Harvey on Saturday, 148th and Broadway. It's his first annual pre-Memorial Day picnic.
This Saturday?
Yes,
Coming up?
this Saturday, and I'll be at the Indiana Dunes, sitting there, kicking back some illegal fireworks.
What day are you at the Dunes?
Saturday.
And Sunday or not?
I'm coming home Sunday.
Oh, okay. I'm coming home. Something
So
like
long and short of it is hello, Burley.
Okay. We were talking before the break about when something major, a change comes, and you talk about your first wife. You had a relationship with her family. You
Yes.
also had a relationship with
Well,
your.
6 years I knew her, and then I was only married 6 months to her. And it's like we were
I
friends.
never knew that. I thought it was.
I knew her for 6 years.
And your mom was like, "And Scott, we paid so much money for that. I gave him a beautiful wedding at Nico's. Should I bring in the wedding pictures?
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, because I burned all mine. Then my mom got mad about that. What kind of sick people keep like old wedding photos? Like if you got divorced, that's not right.
I was looking through family photos. Actually, I have a bunch of photos. I have a bunch of stuff that I haven't been through. And there were pictures of my grandparents and other pictures of people that I really felt like putting it through the shredder. I'm like, they've been gone for so long, and I don't feel that I have a connection to these people anymore. Yes, they were in my life. My father's parents were not the warmest individuals. I got to know my other grandma as she MF'd me as I took her to her doctor's visits because I was late. But
Or a disappointment, actually.
Or disappointment, and it's
She was-
nothing was ever good enough. That's what I found. And so those memories that come back when I look at those pictures, like, yeah, it doesn't matter what you did, you weren't good enough.
My grandma had a stroke arm. And she would hit me with her stroke arm. Like that's what she'd do to me. But it's the truth.
Do you ever feel that you could call any of these people, like the ex's parents?
We were supposed to connect on Facebook, and we were supposed to get together and talk about the psychic, because she came with me that first night when I went and see my cousin. Is my mic on here?
I'm
Okay.
looking at is that a clip-on tie?
No, it's a real time.
I like the knot.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
And we were going to set it up, and I guess you probably spilled the beans to Dad that, hey, Scott wanted to talk, and I have to wait her out now. So it might take another 15 to 20 years to get the story straight about when we went and seen my cousin's grandmother. And
Was this the psychic?
The psychic, Sandy came with me that first time.
Okay.
And she cried because she says, this marriage won't last more than 6 months. And she was right. So it's like if I can get Sandy to come out and say, hey, this is a lot of stuff that happened, because she bawled through her whole reading. And, yeah.
She wasn't happy up in Wisconsin.
Every 100 miles she got away from her mother, she got worse. Every 100 miles I got her back. Like I went past Chicago, she was good. Then I took her to St. Louis and Florida. Then it's like she started crying. Every 100 miles I got back, she started getting good.
I guess that's where I've always been different. I mean, the fact that I grew up without a mother.
She was
for most
a very good person. Let's first say that.
Right.
First and foremost, it's just we shouldn't have got married.
Okay. I've never understood like this, why, and many of our friends were kind of like in situations where their wives had to live next door to the parents. And it's like, what is the deal? I guess I've always been very independently minded.
Some families are nurturing and respectful, and you wanna build that guy a house, or you want to help him out. And some families aren't like that.
But it always comes with strings, I have found. And then it's like...
If they're manipulative.
Our friend Dan, okay? Dan, who has
Okay.
had several marriages like yourself.
Really?
Absolutely. He was telling me one time how
He was next to me in the yearbook.
Oh, okay. How his then wife's parents would just walk in, and he would be in his underwear on his day off, and then they would be asking, well, why aren't you working today? That kind of stuff is kind of intrusive, I think. Like, I'm off today. Well, aren't you going to do something? And it's like,
Your daughter's not here.
get out of my house. That kind of thing. I just thought that was kind of
I
intrusive.
think you just threw him under the bus.
No, I didn't say who it was.
Oh, really? Like, oh, okay. All right.
He'll reach out and say, you know what, I forgot about that, thanks, and now I'm in therapy. All right. But there's a lesson in that. And sometimes we get involved with the wrong people. And
There's good people. There's good people. And you know what? Probably what the problem is maybe this person, Dan, maybe he's got a problem where it's like he's not, hey, my mom and dad didn't do that. But these other people are like, hey, what's the matter, son? Aren't you going to work today? Why don't you get out there? I'm sorry, I stole your thunder.
I cannot stand when somebody comes into a home and starts questioning, like, what are you doing? And you're an adult, and I don't owe you an explanation. That's what I'm doing.
Or somebody in the household, they use hand towels at their house, and you don't. And you're like, I'm going to throw them all in the trash as soon as you leave. So don't buy me ever hand towels. I swear to God, I'll burn them in front of you. Because there's no reason to have a hand towel.
Yeah.
No reason.
I just don't know if I could deal with, I don't think I could deal with all of that stuff. And, we have to go see mom and dad. And I'm like, I really, I don't know if I'm cold or callous. I don't know. I got to get love
We are
in
the
my
wrong
life.
people to have that relationship, and I understand that. But there are people out there that are like, hi, Mom and Dad, good to see you. Helen and John, they're the best people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, but you know what? There's people that love your parents. I always thought your parents were great. And you would probably think that my father was great. They were good people, but unfortunately maybe they weren't good to us in a way that was nurturing.
Point and counterpoint. We our case, what do they say? The defense rests.
The defense rests.
Are you ready in the control room? Are you ready in the control room? Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. Topics! And they're off!
Okay, first topic, go.
First topic. I can't stand those kids that stand in the corner with their pants hanging down, and I think they're going to get dry humped by their uncle. Next.
I can't stand the kids that walk down the street and start shaking and moving people and trying to get their cell phones.
Why did people in Detroit, the black people and the white people, go to two different schools? That's wrong. That's not Martin Luther King's dream.
Why is it that Al Sharpton's daughter is suing the city of New York for $5 million because of uneven pavement and ended up going on a rock climbing trip to Bali?
Why is Al Sharpton skinny?
Why is Jesse Jackson not using Afro Sheen anymore?
Let's talk about a white politician.
Hillary Clinton, why is she talking now?
That's one big rump.
All right, we'll have to work on the concept.
There you go.
We did a little bit of it. Anyway, we had a lot of good stuff tonight.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of opening the wound. When you get birthed out of one hole, they put you in the ground.
In another, unless you believe in cremation, and that's a whole different.
But they'll still put you in a hole.
Absolutely. Anyway, you can always reach us at the Greg Show at gstrussman@gmail.com, and of course, we're always here on YouTube. I want to thank our crew, our director as always, Bobby Rutherford.
Yeah.
Bobby Mudra on camera. We have Mike Mickrit. Sound. And I don't know. That's
I always thought it was Mike Root. But
is it Mike Rit or Mick Rit? I'd always call him Mick Rit. Yeah. So
sounds
anyway.
like nicotine or
Right. Something like that. Yeah. So in ending, it's been great seeing you.
good to see you.
We're going out to the Rainbow Restaurant in Elmhurst after this. Greg Struss, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Goodbye, everybody.